Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. So I have some people joining me live. I will have the chat box open. So if you want, you can pop your questions up there or feel free to unmute and jump in if need be. And for others watching the replay, thank you very much again for joining. And if you've got any questions, you can always write me or comment down and I will get back to you. So I have started running some webinar series to help homeowners or home lovers, I'd like to call them, home lovers who are creating their own home interiors and, are trying to work things out within how to get their decor and, how to sort the interiors. So there are quite a lot of aspects when we come to interior designing. And I am helping you understand each and every aspect so that helps you when you're looking at your home and thinking about styling, how you need to go about it, so to make it easy. So welcome again to another webinar today. We are talking about light and lighting. Now, this is very important in interior design. Now, again, to start with, I'd like to talk about what is interior design. Okay, before that, I think I will probably introduce myself. Some of you know me, for others, I'm Latika and I'm an interior designer based in Melbourne. I should be saying, an overseas registered architect. I was practicing in India and Middle East before I moved to Melbourne. And in Middle East, I've been fortunate to work with Royal Court projects and be involved in the design and presentation of Presidential Palace, Abu Dhabi. That's one of the world's most prestigious projects. And I'm really fortunate to be a part of that team. I moved down to Melbourne in 2010, and since then I've been working with some architects and designers. I started working more with interior designers, and then, having family and kids, slowly started working for friends and families, and then realized, okay, I should start it out on my own and help people realize their dreams. So that is how Latika Nair Design was born. So interior design, what is interior design? Interior design is the art and science of enhancing an interior of a building to achieve a healthier and more aesthetically pleasing environment for the people using the space. So we must understand interior is not only about the aspect of looking and feeling good. So that involves the art, but there is a science involved as well. There are a lot of other aspects. There's psychology, the science of, you need to understand that other than it being aesthetic, it has to be functional, it has to be healthy, and it has to work for the people living within the space. That is why interior design is very important. So today we start on lighting. Now we all know the importance of light. You see things around you because of the light. So it is very important you understand what light is and what are the different aspects. This will help you when you're thinking about your space and give you more idea on this. So consistent with many of the other components of a complete interior design, natural and artificial light are both functional and aesthetic consideration in every design. So we all know natural light is a key as well as artificial light. So, and these, we all understand light is required to see and work within the space. Light is required to see the color, that whatever you incorporate within your space, light is needed for you to see it. And even for you to function around, walk around the space, light is the key. It is really important. We all know there are two types. Most of us know there are two types of lighting. Natural light, of course, being from the sun, the natural light, your daylight that you get, and the artificial lighting. Now, with natural light, you do have a lot of limitations as well, because you need to know when it comes to a natural light, you need to evaluate the amount, the direction of light, because this is something that's already there and we cannot change it once, we are within the space. So this actually comes in early on when you're designing. Actually, when you're working with your architects, usually at the start, they are involved because how they orient your building, how the certain rooms are placed, how the windows are positioned, all that affects the natural light that you get within the space. Now we are talking about the interiors. Once all that external shell is done, then interior space. So when you have a room, you need to assess how much of natural light you are getting. What kind of natural light you're getting? Are you getting the morning light? Are you getting the afternoon sun? All that makes a difference because they have a tone. They have a tone to the light as well, and the temperature is different for both the lights. And of course, in places like Australia, we clearly know with summer and winter the extremes of sunlight that we can get. So, and this affects everything. If you want to break it down, it affects your wall color, the finishes, the textiles that you use, the fabrics that you consider for your space. All these are affected. So as said, morning light is a more clear white light. Afternoon lights are gold, and they can even get a bit darker, like orange to red light. Reddish tinge, I mean. So this is just a photo of a space where it shows you can actually, when you see the photo, you can know there is light falling within that space. It's a hallway, and there is natural light falling within that space. So what does that do? So when we know what's the natural light we have, when we've done the building, we've already done the window sizes, and all that has been already done, and now we are in the interior. So it affects the window treatments that you want, the screens that you're thinking to put, whether you need a sheer, a block out, or what kind of light what kind of window covering you need. Some people just opt for the block out roller blinds, which are fine, but that is mainly to block out the light. But then when the roller blinds are up, you might need a sheer curtain so that there is a privacy as well. So there's no vision from outside. When you look inside, you don't have a vision within the space. So all these affect also the size of the window. Say, for example, you've got something which is double height. Would you want it to have a window treatment that is manually, or would you like that to be automated? So these days, we all know automated is the key. Most people opt for it. They know directly during the build itself, all that is taken care of. The architect has, of course, done all that requirement that's required, and your builder has made the provisions as well. So that will need certain electrical points to be considered, where you're giving your fitting, depending on some certain kind of window treatment. You might have to give additional structural support sometimes if there are not enough structural support within the structure. So usually these things are, if you thought really early about this, initially it can go down in your design as well, and when your builder is building it, all that would be incorporated inside. And this is the window blinds. The options are n numbers. Even when you're looking for block out blinds, we have different options that might be available. Now, we do know the effect of natural light. It also helps create drama within a space. If when the light falls on certain aspects, you get the light and shadow effect, creating drama. Now, sometimes that enhances what you're creating, which is fabulous. And sometimes you might need that. Say, for example, it's on a certain time, you might need to provide additional lighting, say artificial lighting, to neutralize that, because if you don't need that effect, you have to neutralize it. So you will have to consider the additional lighting that you need. So this is again natural light. This is one of the homes that I did, and you can see they've got large double height windows. So we decided they did have automated blinds, block out blinds, and these were also automated sheer, but we decided when we're doing the sheer, we'll run it full height. Of course, the blinds stop for just the two windows, up and down. But when it is shut and when the sheer runs, it's running for the whole length. So actually that enhances the space as well. And they have maximum view, whatever, the view is needed. They are able to get the views. On days where they do not have much of sunshine, all the blinds are up there, especially like that day that we had done the photo shoot. Beautiful day, sunny day, not so strong sun, morning sun. So it was a really lovely light that was flowing in through those double height windows. And as you said, if the glare is too much, you can have the block out, or sometimes just with the sheer, it's more than enough for them to, block the light. That's all the light that they get. But in summer, of course, they will have a bit more strong light coming in. So we do have the block out blinds as well. The next one is artificial light. Now, as you know, artificial light, there is no limitation. You can have how much ever light you want. So you can create drama with artificial light. So always light is something you can really play around. That's just another whole aspect that you can play around. Light itself can be created like an art form which has its effect on its own. So you can help light to achieve that effect as well, especially the artificial light. Now, lighting, again, when you consider artificial lighting, there are many kinds of lighting. You have direct lighting, like you've got your downlights, direct lighting, and they're used for general lighting. You have reflected, you might have heard reflected, because some lights, they are pointed up towards the ceiling. So they hit the ceiling and then they are reflected. So they are called reflected lighting. Sometimes they are referred as indirect or diffuse lighting as well. So these are terms that we use. So similarly, you've got different kind of frosted, when you've got a fitting, which is, so it's kind of translucent. You can't see what is inside. It's a frosted effect. You get those frosted light effects as well. Hooded, of course, means usually the light fitting will have some kind of hood directing it in a particular direction. So you can have a light fitting which might have a hood on the top. So it directs it hits the hood and directs the light downward. You can have it the other way as well. You've got the light and the hood at the bottom, so it directs the light upwards. So that like creates a wall wash. So there are different types. If you just even look at them, there are different types of light available. And these days, I think the choice is every day with technology, there's something new coming in the market. Now, with lighting, there are three, when you consider artificial lighting, there are three basic categories. Now, there are much more. If you want to break it down, you can further go into this much more detailing, but just for basic understanding, I'll just do the basic three, which is the main one. One is called the task lighting, which is specifically, okay, I'll explain that. I'll just say the three types first. You've got task lighting, ambient lighting, and ornament or decorative lighting. That is the three basic lightings that we have for artificial lights. So task lighting, what is task? As the name goes, it refers to a light that is provided for a particular task to be done. For example, you have a reading nook, you've got a reading chair, you might have a light for your reading space. Now, in kitchen, underlights have becoming very popular these days. You've got the LED strips running under. They are task light because whatever task you're doing on the bench, you can have these lights on, so they just light up the bench area quite clear. Or you can have the, a pendant light. Say, for example, you've got a billiard table. So you've got the pendant light right in the center. That's for you to play in the space, see where the, what's happening on the pool table. So that those are kind of task lights. They're called as task lights, very, very obvious from the name. The second type of lighting is ambient. Ambient lighting is usually the general light that is provided mainly for direction and circulation within a space. The most common ones are the downlights that we see. The downlights that's provided in any room are the common ambient light. But these days, not having downlights are not the best option. There are a lot of things you can do. There are other ways of creating, just not have series of downlights. But general lighting, some have the linear lights. There are different lightings available as well. But when it is just for the general arrangement of the space and for you to see what's around and, that you can move around safely, those lights are called ambient lighting. And the final is the decorative or the ornament light. Now, these lights do have a purpose because sometimes a decorative ornament light acts as a task light as well. The most popular one is the one that we have above the island bench in the kitchen. You have always seen it's really a fancy having a beautiful pendant light above your island bench. One, it is a focus, it's an ornament piece. You can play around with something there, bring something new. But two, for the other thing, it actually even has place. Say, for example, you want to have a close, just a family together sitting around the island bench having a dinner, quiet dinner. That light is more than enough for that task. So it serves the purpose of dining together as well. So ornament lights are those kind of lights. Of course, some are just extra because they are placed for ornamental purposes, but they do double up because even when you have ornament, it will provide that extra lighting to enhance your space. So those are ornament lights. Now in this example, you can clearly see the general light. What we have are the downlights. That is for the main passageway in between the island bench and the main cooking bench. Of course, we've got light under the cabinetry, but we don't have much. It's mainly the light with the range hood that lights up the whole cooking table. Other than that, because we don't have a overhead continuously, these two downlights are more than enough for the general lighting. And of course, the pendant light on the island bench. It is decorative, it is a feature. But of course, just as I mentioned, if the family is sitting together down having a quick lunch, that is more than enough to light up the space. But even if they want to chop a veggie, that light is more than enough to lighten up. But it's a beautiful piece, so it adds as a focus within the space. So that's an ornament light. So that's all for today. I hope you have understood something about light. Light is the key. We have to pay a lot of attention when we are thinking about the light. As mentioned, these are just the basics for you to get started. There's so much more detail if you want to go in, and maybe down the track sometime I will do it. So thank you for joining. Does anybody have any questions? What was that? Sorry. With ambient light. Yeah. You're right. That's what I was saying. So ambient light, usually it's creating an ambience, and it is mainly for the general movement and safety within the space. So that is termed as ambient light. That might be even termed as general lighting. So it's just the terms that we provide. Task, specifically it is for a task. Yeah, I hope that's clear. So specifically for a task is called a task lighting. See, olden days it was very popular. Nowadays we are splitting it, getting into the details, but olden days it was really popular. You just had one light in the kitchen and that would serve it everything. It was just a down light or just one ceiling light that you had. That would be more than enough. But now we are breaking it down. You don't have to have the ceiling light. If you've got under lights, you may not need the ceiling light when you're doing your task. You'll just have the under lights and they'll be on for you to do your work. Or you might have a pendant light which lights up your island bench, and that's all you need at that time. So and it's always nice to layer the lights, because then we can always work around with what we need. If there are more people and it's a guest, you can turn on most of the lights to enhance the space. But if not, if it's just the family, if you're just sitting around the island bench, all you might need is the island bench lighting. Yes, those are called ornaments. You're right. These days, island bench do have the LED lights that run under the bench and all those kind of things. They are mostly considered as ornament light, because if you see under the bench, there's no task as such that's happening. It's more when the island bench is made as a feature, the light is provided, because that just enhances the look. So they are actually considered as ornament light, though they are LED strips. They are considered, when we provide them as highlighting the island bench, they are considered as ornaments. So it's the same light, but when it's used differently, if it's used under the bench where you're working, LED strips, they will be termed as task light. Say, for example, you've got strips running on your general lighting, which is instead of one down light, you've got just general strips running, LED strips. Then they act as your ambient light. So the same LED strips acts as three different lighting: task lighting, general lighting, and ornament lighting, highlighting your island bench. Yeah, so that's right. So she's trying to ask, what is it about the LED? How do you figure out? So it's not about the LED strip lighting. It's how you use it defines what kind of light it is. So you don't have to get caught up in the terms. I'm just saying it will be layered onto each other and they will work perfectly well. I hope I've made it clear. As said, thank you, everyone. Any more questions? Not seeing anything. As I said, thank you, everyone, for joining in. If you've got more questions, please feel free to pop up or comment and I will get back to you. I will have this video up on YouTube, so you can always go back and refer it. You can find me on, you can actually just Google. I'm all over the socials. If you Google Latika Nair Design, you'll find my Insta page. I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. I do have my website up and running, so you can check me if you just Google. And of course, I have a Facebook group, which is also under the same name, Latika Nair Design. And probably I'll have the link somewhere in so that you can join in. I hope we've understood something more about lighting today. That's given you more idea on how you have to think about your lighting. Please feel free to pop your questions anytime, and I'm happy to answer. Have a lovely day and see you again next week. Bye.